There is a quiet you only meet when the door closes and the house exhales. At first, it sounds like absence, an empty room, the refrigerator's hum, footsteps that don't belong to anyone else. If you've just moved into your own place, that quiet can feel like a stranger standing in the corner. It can make the nights long and the days oddly full of nothing. Living alone is not the romantic freedom the movies sell. It is not only late-night takeout and the thrill of a key that opens only your door. It begins with small surprises. The first time you realize there is no voice to ask, "How was your day?" And the first evening you go to bed without a single person saying your name. That emptiness hits like winter at first. Sharp, cold, and somehow endless. But the same silence that scares you also becomes a classroom. You learn to make your own comfort. When a bad day arrives, you find yourself creating rituals that gently hold you up. Boiling a kettle, making soup, lighting a small lamp that makes the room feel like a place of refuge. These little acts are not insignificant. They are the stitches that mend a restless heart. Over time, you discover that you can calm yourself. You can become the steady presence you once waited for. Housework becomes an education in responsibility. A broken bulb, a leaking tap, a stubborn cabinet hinge. They are invitations to become resourceful. You learn how to call someone, how to read a tutorial, how to gather the right tools. With each small repair, you vote for your independence. You begin to trust the quiet voice that says, "You can handle this." That trust matters more than any sudden victory because it builds the muscle of self-reliance. Boredom arrives like a teacher in disguise. At first, it feels empty and useless. But boredom asks a question. What will you do when no one else fills the silence for you? The answer pushes you into creativity. You try a recipe you would never have attempted in company. You open a book that sits heavy on your shelf. You pick up a pencil and draw terrible lines that slowly become better. Little hobbies become lifelines. The very things that keep you busy in solitude become parts of yourself you never knew you needed. Your space begins to reflect who you are when nobody else is choosing for you. The color of a pillow, the placement of a plant, the angle of a lamp. These are not frivolous choices. They matter because they shape how you move through your day. A tidy corner for work, a soft lamp for evenings, a chair placed by a window. These small designs give your life rhythm and intention. In the act of arranging your room, you are arranging your mind. Living alone teaches you how to guard your energy without apology. You learn to say no to late-night plans that leave you empty, and yes to evenings that refill you. You stop performing for an imaginary audience and start protecting your peace. That boundary, once practiced, becomes an act of kindness toward yourself. It is not selfish to preserve your strength. It is necessary. Emotions come without an automatic hand to hold them. Grief, boredom, joy. They land directly on you. That can be terrifying and it can be fierce. You learn to sit with feelings instead of fleeing them. You breathe through a hard night. You write the anger down. You call someone who listens. Those practices build a quiet resilience. You discover a capacity to feel deeply and to heal slowly, and that ability becomes one of your greatest strengths. Practical planning becomes a quiet form of freedom. Bills are paid on time. Groceries are stocked. Doctors are seen. Small savings accumulate. The discipline of these tiny steps creates a cushion that makes your independence joyful, not precarious. You learn that small planning is not the enemy of spontaneity. It is the scaffolding that lets you be spontaneous without fear. There is a strange gift in learning to love your own company. Nights you expected to dread become evenings you cherish. You watch a film and taste it fully because you set the volume and the pillows exactly how you like them. You cook a meal that tastes like comfort because you chose each spice. You learn the language of your own laughter and begin to enjoy it. Alone does not mean lonely. It can mean fully present. Living alone also changes the way you connect with others. Because you have practiced being whole on your own, you arrive in friendships and relationships without neediness. You listen better. You ask better questions. Your presence is generous because it is not a search for completion. That solitude, handled with care, makes you a more honest companion. And there are small rebellions that feel enormous. Dancing at midnight to a song you love, eating cereal for dinner, leaving the light on because it comforts you. These tiny freedoms remind you that your life is yours to shape. They teach you permission. Permission to be human and imperfect and wonderfully yourself. This season of living alone will not feel like a series of accomplishments. There will be nights you forget to call someone, weeks when the cooking is lazy, mornings clouded by fatigue. That mess is part of the story. The practice is imperfect. The growth is steady. What accumulates are not perfect days, but a steady confidence that you can meet life on your own terms. So, tonight, if you find yourself in a quiet room, take one small, tender step. Make a meal that feels like care. Put on a song that makes you move. Write one sentence you are grateful for. Small rituals change the way you move through life. They are the quiet architecture of a life that grows stronger, kinder, and freer by habit. If this story touched you, share one small thing about your space that brings you peace. If you want more stories that teach and quiet lessons that change how you live, subscribe and walk with us through this gentle work of learning to be at home in ourselves. Until next time, treat your room like a friend and be kind to the person who comes home to it.